say I don't speak for all African Americans. However, when I speak, I am speaking from an African American standpoint because I am African American, okay? Yet, we have differing of opinions because I may think one thing and Dr. Elisha may think something totally different, and both of our opinions are valid. And so having more than one person represented in those spaces will be a huge asset, because as Alana addressed, right, injustice anywhere is, injustice anywhere will bring on justice everywhere, etc., right? So we need more than one person representing us at the tables, and not just there to fill a seat, but actually giving to the conversation, okay? Actually speaking up, saying what's necessary, what they feel is necessary, being okay with disagreeing if that's what needs to happen, being okay with having a differing of opinion with someone else, and being okay realizing that in those spaces sometimes you may be uncomfortable, but you still work through that uncomfortable feeling. I have a saying for myself, and that saying is, with a lot of things, do it afraid. So even if it's not something that I want to do, if it's something that I know I need to do, I'll do it afraid. It has worked, it has helped. I taught my daughter, so that was the first person I got to mentor, but then I have others that I'm constantly pouring into, and I tell her the same thing, do it afraid. Do it afraid. And it really helped to move you into spaces that you wouldn't necessarily just be comfortable with. There are statistics to prove, and I'm thinking more educationally at this point, where when you have others in a room that looks like you, right, then you tend to engage better, you tend to take in, information better. So think about that, even from an adult standpoint, when we're in these situations and it's just you, sometimes it's easy to sit back, because I've been guilty of it a lot. It's easy to sit back and just say, okay, well, I'm here. But we're to the point now where we need to move forward and say those tough things which needs to be said, have those hard conversations which need to be had, because that's the way we will begin to move the needle forward. So rules of community engagement is very important. And no matter where you are, just start. It's okay if you're at the street level. Continue to show up, to move to the people's level, the indulging level, the career level, leadership level, if that's what you so desire. But at the end of the day, just engage. Your voice is important. Your voice matters. You matter.
All right, so I'm going to talk about scaling, and I have a few slides. Leave it to me to be extra, right? 5 minutes, and I got slides. So when you hear us in the collaborative, often refer to our social conditions as the house is on fire, right? So we use that metaphor frequently. And really what we're referring to are what's already been talked about today, right? So educational inequities, we're talking about the wealth gap, right? We know that the wealth gap impacts our philanthropic capacity, which impacts our ability to fund social programs that affect our communities, right? So we're talking about that. And even when we get a chance to participate or to invest in things like life insurance, right, that some may perceive as an opportunity to build wealth, right? But for us, we're dying early, right? So we're thinking about we may have to use it for what it's intended for, and earlier than later. We're also talking about health, right? So I'm in healthcare, and so we know we have a lot of healthcare inequities. Saying all that to say, it's not just the houses on fire. We have like 50 houses on fire, right? And all of us in the room are on the fire team, right? We're on the fire department, we're the fire squad, essentially, right? And each of us brings a different skill level and resources to the table, right? But we could be more effective and more impactful if we were able to appropriately scale our work. So usually when we think of scaling, we think of it in the for-profit world, right? So if you have McDonald's, for example, scaling their work looks like opening up new franchises, right, all over, right, to increase revenue. But in our world, how do we scale up to maximize the social impact, right? And I think a lot of it is, we're tired. How many of us in this room are engaged in over, multiple inequity issues in our communities, right? We're all addressing these things. So we're spread thin. So it would be a great opportunity for us to think about how can we scale up our work in ways to maximize the impact. Alana mentioned earlier that not much has changed now from, years ago. And I really see that as a scaling issue, right? Because by the time we mobilize, right, so we've got people on the fire department who they have the skill to do it, right? They know how to put out a fire. And you have others who might be afraid of fire, but they have access to water, right? So we've got everybody here, right, on the fire department bringing all these different sort of resources and capacities to the work. And by the time we mobilize, we learn it's a different type of